theyeshiva.net.
Before we do the Hadron, first we're going to call up. It's a tremendous, tremendous honor, schus, privilege to have with us. We spent Shabbos with Rabbi Jacobson, and I have to tell you, I think, Reb Ari Ben Shushan, I think we enjoy watching each other speak, trading notes, talking shop about public speaking. But then when we watch Rabbi YY Jacobson speak, it's a whole different stratosphere. It's a whole different league. It's a whole different ball game. It's a chad bedara. It's a unique experience to hear Rabbi YY speak. He can make you both laugh and cry at the same time. And like we pointed out on Shabbos, I think it's the perfect experience of MDY to have a Lubavitcher speaking at a Grunix event. The combination of the two coming together as one is the unity called MDY. So without any further ado, it is a tremendous honor. It was a privilege to have you for Shabbos and an honor to have you address us as the keynote speaker, Rabbi YY Jacobson.
B'rishus Reb Eli Shlita, who brought us all together for this extraordinary Shabbos and Motzei Shabbos. B'rishus his esteemed father, Vagon, Reb Yaakov David Shlita Stefanski, the Shver, Reb Yaakov Meir Friedman Shlita, the whole Mishpacha, the Stefanski family, the Friedman family, all the friends, relatives, and the extended family of Merkaz Daf Yomi, Kulanu b'nei Ish Echad Nachnu. I'm honored and privileged to address you at this stupendous evening. So here's the question, my dearest brothers and sisters. How did he kill him? How did he kill him? It's a story that happened almost 3,500 years ago, but Jews argue, how did he kill him? And I'm referring to the first recorded event in history of a Jew being murdered because he was a Jew. It's in the beginning of Parshas Shmos. Vayigdal Moshe vayetze elechav. Moshe grew up and he went out to his brothers and he observes an Egyptian commander, an Egyptian soldier trying to murder, to beat to death a Hebrew. Vayarish Mitzri maki ivri meyechav. The Jew will die if Moshe does nothing. Vayifen koi v'choi, vayarki einish, vayaches ha-mitzri, vayitmenei b'choil. Moshe looks here, Moshe looks there. He strikes the Egyptian, he kills him, and he buries him in the sand. I read the story, and I say, Baruch Hashem, the murderer was slain before he managed to kill. The Jew was saved. Jews know how to argue about everything. If you open up a Medrash Rabbah Parshas Shmos, Chazal asked the question, how did Moshe do it? Now I would say, who cares? L'may nafkamina, the guy is dead, let's go eat. The summation of all Jewish holidays, they tried to kill us, we won, where's the food? Vayaches ha-mitzri, the Gemara in Yuma, Maida hava, l'may nafkamina, how he killed him. The Medrash is talking about this when the Medrash was written. You're talking about at the end of Bayesheni, you're talking about 1,500 years or more since it happened. A lot of water came under the bridge since. Three different opinions. Rebbe Vyosser says, Be'egroif, Moshe killed him with his fist. Apparently, in Paro's palace. There was some good Krav Maga lessons, jiu-jitsu, judo, martial arts, some good wrestling or boxing. Moshe learned self-defense. Be'egroif, he took his fist, und hem gegeben a klap, a frask, and yisgadal v'yiskadash. That's the first opinion. V'yesh oimrim. Others say, Great Fishal tit. The Jew was using a shovel in order to build Paro's mansions, Pisim and Ramses, Magrefa, a shovel for tit, for cement, for plaster. Moshe took the shovel, boom, he killed him. V'Rabbanan Amri. And then the Rabbanan say the third opinion, and this you all know. Why? Because the only one that Rashi quotes in Chumash. Rashi doesn't quote the first two opinions. It's interesting. Rashi quotes only the third opinion, and that's why most Jews, unless you learn Medrash Rabbah, don't know about the first two opinions. What's the third opinion? B'Shem HaMefurish. Moshe didn't kill him with his fist or with a shovel. He eliminated him by uttering the Ribono Shel Olam Shem HaMefurish, Halahargeini Ata Oimer Kasharakta Es HaMitzri. Rashi says, Malamed Shaharorge through Amira, B'Shem HaMefurish. Now forgive me to ask this question, maybe irreverent. Do we really have to fight about everything? Do we really have to argue about how Moshe killed him? Rebbe Vyosar, Yesh Oimrim, Rabbanon. And what about the Elu ve'elu Divrei Elokim Chayim? The foundation of Torah Shalal Peh, the Gemara in Erev in Daf Yud Gimel Begematria Echad. That all opinions ultimately come to Echad. Divrei Elokim Chayim. It's all from Hashem and He's one. But come on, this is an argument about Metzias. What happened? Either he used his fist, or he used a shovel, or he used the Shem HaMefurish. I want to show you here, my dearest friends, how what seems like a far-fetched argument in a medrash. I'm not going to say a farvorf in a medrash, because somebody once told Reb Chatzkel Abramsky, so da a farvorfen a toisefte. It's a far-fetched. He says, nein, du bist verworfen. The toisefte is nicht verworfen. You got lost somewhere. This argument is so relevant and timeless, it could have been written today. It's not an argument how Moshe killed the Egyptian on that moment. That too. It captures a fundamental argument. How do you deal with the phenomenon of a Mitzri or anyone in the world who has one desire, and that is to beat the Jew to death? Rachmana litzlan hoyer le'siyah. There's an argument. And you know how important and how I know this argument is relevant? Because the Jewish people for generations have been split about this question. For generations there has been a dichotomy, a kera, sometimes a very dramatic split among the Jewish people. How do you handle that Mitzri? How do you confront that Mitzri? One group said, Egroif. Jews must learn to employ a fist. Doesn't the Gemara say, Habala hargach, hashkem lahargoi? The same Ribono Shel Olam who gives all the other mitzvahs says, kill him first. The halacha in Shulchan Aruch Erechayim Shin Chav Tes, based on the Gemara in Erevin, Nachrim Shetzaru al Ayoris Yisrael, Yoitzin Alein Beklei Zayin, Mechalelin Alein Es HaShabbos. If there's even a suffix or svek, that one Jewish life will be in danger, they're coming for cash, they're coming to steal straw. But there's a danger, Shulchan Aruch Shin Chav Tes Hilchos Shabbos. There's a danger that maybe ha'aretz tehei psucha lefneim, that the Jewish people, one Jew will be in danger, yoitzin aleim beklei zayin beklei Shabbos. One group said, Egroiv, Jews must learn how to employ a fist. It's not what anybody ever wants. Moral violence is not what anybody wants, but when you're facing immoral violence, sometimes hashkem lahargoi, there's no choice but to engage immoral violence. With moral violence, hashkem lahargoi kol hamarachem al achzarim, to protect innocent children. That was one opinion. There was another opinion that differed. They argued Great Fishal tit. What's Great Fishal tit? Don't use a fist. use a shovel that creates construction. What's that about? Exactly, real estate. They said we need to employ a different strategy. Let's build skyscrapers and acquire affluence and influence. Let's create powerful political, social, financial alliances. Let's build skyscrapers, Himmelkratzes, as they would say in Yiddish. Gordeis Chakim, Afivrit. Let's build skyscrapers, garner influence, have contacts with the most powerful people in a country. My Great Fishal tit. Build the Jewish people, let them become tycoons on every level, whether it's in academia, in commerce, in finance, in the arts, in the humanities, in politics. Let them have influence, and through diplomacy, they'll be able to defeat an enemy through their influence. In fact, just 1 century ago, there was a huge split among the Jewish people. Those who said Egroiv, and those who said Magrei Fishal Tit. And then there was a third group. And everybody knows who the third group is. The third group says, Shem HaMefarish. Shem HaMefarish, Hashem's name. That's the way to defeat the Mitzri. Elev Arechev, Elev Asusim, V'anachnu, B'Shem Hashem Elokeinu Nasi. And the Rabbanon who advocated the Shem HaMefarish said, let's face it, that ancient Egypt, ancient Assyria, ancient Babylonia, ancient Persia, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Byzantine, did they not have fists? Did they not have shovels? Did they not build monuments, have military prowess, build gymnasiums and stadiums and palaces and gladiators and Acropolis? They had that. But they're gone, they're not here. What did we have that they didn't have? We had Shem HaMefarish. V'ro cholam me'aretz. Ki Shem Hashem nikra alecha. V'yoru mimeka, zog the Gemara in Brachas, Elu tfilin sheberoish. It's a gewaldige Meister when the Balatanya was arrested by the Tsarist government. Tovkuf Nun Tes, 1798, after Sukkot. So the messenger of the Tsarist government came into his home and he was wearing tefillin. He came to arrest him and he made with his hand like this, and the man left. So one of his chassidim was there. He said, Rebbe, what happened? He says, steht in Gemara, V'yaru mimeka, they see Shem Hashem and they're afraid, so he left. He said, Rebbe, I also put on tefillin, nobody's afraid of me. So the Balatanya, the Alter Rebbe said, se steht nicht elu tefillin she'al harosh. Se steht elu tefillin she'birosh. The tefillin is not only on the head, it's inside the head. The tefillin is inside, she'birosh. But even tefillin she'al harosh, it's the mitzvah of tefillin, v'yaru mimeka. Shem HaMefarish. Torah mitzvahs. That was the Jewish secret and not so secret weapon that allowed them to remain eternal. Ani Hashem lo yishanisi v'atem b'nei Yaakov lo yichilisa. Third opinion. My friends, I believe that Simchas Torah Tovshin v'im shagisi Hashem yichaper. But I say this for my gut and my soul. I believe that Simchas Torah Tovshin Pei Dalet was a call to unite the three opinions, finally, after thousands of years of such pain and such division. Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim. History beacons to us. God speaks to us and says, children, can we bring the three opinions together and love each other like never before in history? Unite with each other like never before in history. Be Jewish like never before in history. There are moments and moments in history where you need an egroif, where you must have a fist, because sadly an enemy that gleefully is happy to behead every Jewish child in Israel and really in the whole world. Bouquets of flowers, therapists in California, anger management lessons, as wonderful as they are to deal with my trauma or your trauma. They want to murder you and your children. Be'egroif. Don't be apologetic and don't say you have a right to defend yourself. You don't have a right. You have an obligation. If not, I am an accomplice to murderers. The same God told us, my Great Fishal tit. Of course, like Esther Hamalka went to plead with Achashverosh, went to talk to Achashverosh, Jewish people need to use every method of influence, whether in the United States or anywhere else in the world, to influence people, to make the world understand that a society that has no place for Jews, that a society that craves the destruction of the Jewish people, such a society has no place for humanity. History has proven the Jews are targeted first, but never last. When Hashem told Avram, I will bless those who bless you, it wasn't just a promise, it was a historical fact. It's a litmus test for a society. You look at any society and you want to know, is it blessed or cursed? Answer, how do they treat the Jews? This is my Great Fishal tit. Every Jew with influence must flex his or her muscles without shame, without an inferiority complex. Speak truth to power. We were chosen to be the voice of morality for Maimed Har Sinai. L'sakin oilam v'malchus shindalad yud. And then there's the shit of the Rabbanon, the tamtzes, the sachaka. What allows the fist to succeed and what allows the shovel to succeed is the shame hamefarish. It was the Heilige Kiddushin who said, "Vayitmeneu b'choil." Moshe hit him not only in the sand. Choil means what? We just said hamavdil ben kodesh l'choil, the mundane. Moshe said the Shem HaMeforish, Vayitmeneu. He hit it b'choil. He was speaking regular words. Nobody can hear that he's talking the Shem HaMeforish. It sounds like Moshe was having a casual conversation because that was Moshe. In a regular conversation, he was talking the Shem HaMeforish. The depth of this insight is, even the fast is Shem HaMeforish. And even the shovel is Shem HaMeforish. By the Jew, there's no ultimate distinction between heaven and earth. Ein Kiddush ela b'mokoim su'uda. I once heard from the Rebbe, he said, Chulin, Mesechta Chulin, where is it? In which Seder is it? You're not holding there yet. Soon you'll get there. The second half of Shas. Mesechta Chulin is where? In Seder Kachim. So in using a classic brisker phraseology, the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, Ba'ayid is Chulin, Adin in Kachim. Chulin is Adin in Kachim. Chulin is also part of Kedusha. Chulin shenasu ataris hakodesh. The Jewish fist is also a Shem HaMeforish. The Jewish shovel is also a Shem HaMeforish. Our generation and the Amat Torah is the one that today must make peace between these three opinions. Our nation was not designed to be split. Our nation was not designed to be fragmented. Our nation was not designed to mistrust each other. You don't believe me? Ask Hamas. Ask Hitler. The Kloisenberger Rebbe once said, Hashem yispar b'chsoiv amim. Says until him, Hashem will count according to the writings of the nations. What does that mean? His Rosh Hashanah is going to be January 1st, not Aleph Tishrei. What's Hashem yispar b'chsoiv amim? So the Kloisenberger Rebbe also had a good sense of humor. Said, this is what's going to happen. Mashiach is going to come. He's going to want to gather everybody there to Yisrael. Hopefully even tonight. So he's going to walk in, not to this Malav Malka, but he's going to walk in somewhere else. And he's going to go to somebody and says, give me a list of the Jews. I got to take him to Eretz Yisrael. So the guy is going to give a list of his brother-in-law and his father-in-law. Not the brother-in-law he doesn't talk to, the other brother-in-law. He's going to give a list. Mashiach says, what about Chaim Yank? He's an apikoidus. What about Shmerel? What about the other guy? I'm not even going to talk about him. A ganav, a terrorist, a gazlan, an idiot, a ferd, a meshuketz, a betuvel. Every kehillah, the lists are going to get very small. Whoever doesn't agree with me, doesn't have a nusach, has a different shnit, a different ma'alach, is not counted. He's not even Jewish. A goy gomor, a hefza of a goy, not only a gavra of a goy. It's a much deeper level of a goy. The Kloisenberger Rebbe says Mashiach is going to say, you know what, I'm going to go ask the goyim who they call a Jew. Hashem Yisper B'chsoiv Amim. The Jew in Be'eri and in Kfar Aza and the festival of Re'im. For those Yemach Shemoiniks, they saw the same Kiddushin. You know why? Because there is the same Kiddushin. Even if in manifestation, we could be different than each other. The Afal Pidi Yisrael, who at the core is real. We weren't made to be fragmented. Yes, we are, but we weren't made. It's contrary. Just like children are supposed to talk to their mother and father, parents are supposed to be close to their children, and when it's not, we cry. The Jewish people are those children. We're siblings. We're one. This is the generation to bring it together. We need a fist. We need a shovel. And it's all empowered by the Shema Mefirish, which is the only source of life and love and faith and truth and eternity and morality and the distinction between good and evil. Every time they introduce me, they talk about the Vilna Gaon and Chabad. So last time I told you a story, but this time I remember the joke. What happens when a Lubavitcher marries a Yekka? So you have a Mashiach who comes on time. Now, if I got Rabbi YY Stefanski to laugh, Rabbi YY is doing well. So I'm going to tell you a vart of the Vilna Gaon, since our dear beloved Reb Eli carries his holy name. Huh? Oh. You have Rachmanis on the glav. This is my fist, if somebody doesn't listen. Vilna Gaon says, I think it's in Mishlei. What a vart. You started Baba Kama, Mazel Tov Shechiyanu, you're going to, in a few days, you're going to get up to Daf Yud Zayin. Daf Yud Zayin, you're going to learn a line, Ein Mayim Ela Torah. We all know, water is Torah. Ask the Gaon why. The sunlight is also Torah. Water is vital to life, so is oxygen. And you know what he says? He says, nothing grows without water, but water never determines what's going to grow. The same water that irrigates the kiwi tree and the watermelon and the cantaloupe irrigates the spelt and the oats and the rye, the esrich tree and the peach and the cherry and the blueberry and the raspberry. So what's the difference? It's the same water. The question is what you put into the earth. Said the Vilna Gaon, Ein Mayim Ela Torah. Torah irrigates whatever you put into your system. And then he says something quite sharp. He says, some people think, I've learned Torah. Beautiful things are going to grow. He says, no, not if you planted thorns. Not if you planted weeds. Not if your plants are filled with bacteria or infections or viruses. The water will produce and make grow whatever you planted. And he says sometimes a person plants into a system negativity, toxicity. Sometimes I'm dealing with arrogance or egotism. And you know what happens? The Torah will feed that too. The Torah will make that grow too, and then it's more dangerous because it's camouflaged by the power of Torah. The Vilna Gaon says there's no substitute for inner refinement. There's no substitute for challenging myself. As the Kotzker said, you learned Shas. What did Shas teach you? The greatest obstacles we have to unity are our own insecurities when you're really in this presence of God. When you don't only learn Shas, but Shas learns you. When the water that I plant and I put into my plants every single day when I learn the Daf Yomi is water that falls on a heart that craves for dveikus and love and connection and attachment and authenticity. Then, as we learned at the end of Maseches Kiddushin, Oid Yunuvun B'Seiva, the Sheinim V'Ananim Yiyu, and Rashi says, Yitzmach Tzemach, an interesting Rashi, Yitzmach Tzemach, V'Yisyachet Schoron La'es Seivoson. There will be a blossom, there will be a growth that is extraordinary. My dearest friends, my dearest, holiest friends, we're living in unprecedented times. This little, it's not so little, but this, relatively speaking to 16 million, it's little. This kibbutz of Yidden there is a foretaste of what it means Jews connecting, celebrating, being proud, and most importantly, being filled with love and connection and empowerment and inspiration. But when we go home tomorrow, it's easy for me to go back into my own orbit. We have now an unprecedented opportunity. 16 million Jews were touched to their core in the last few weeks. Everybody wants to be more Jewish. Everybody. But how? By checking TikTok every 6 seconds? By looking at another clip, another piece of news, by finding the anchor who doesn't protest against Israel, and we turn them into charvoina? And then we send it to all our family members. We finally found a Gentile who thinks that we don't have to go into the gas chambers. Yeshikoya. Wow. Those who have to do that, let them do that. But all of us have a shlichus now. We have a historic mission. 16 million Jews want to be Jewish, and they want to know how. Everyone has influence. You have your circle of influence. It's time for you and I and every one of us to go out of our corner and empower the Jewish people to embrace not just the fist, yes, and not just the shovel, yes, but also the Shema Mefarish that has sustained us for 4,000 years, and it worked. Proof is we're here, we survived, we thrive, we celebrate, we love. We're going to see Mashiach, we're going to see the Geula, we're going to be victorious. The Jews want an anchor. 16 million Jews are waiting for marching orders. And today's marching orders comes from the grassroots, just like MDY. Grassroots revolution. That's the koyach. With the times of Mashiach, it says, Lo yilamdu oid ish esre'eyu. Ki kulam yedu oisi limiktanam vad gedoylem. Every person is a little Mashiach. Every child, every Jew is a Gadol Ador. Every Jew is a Gadol Ador. Don't wait for Ploini Almighty. Let them do things. Everyone has a hashpah. 16 million Jews. Their hearts are open. Give them what to hold on to make it part of their daily life. Whether it's tefillin, or mezuzah, or kashrus, or tzedakah, or mikveh, or tefillah, or limudat Torah, or Shabbos candles, or Shabbos, or chinuch, or any other of the Taryag mitzvahs. Leiv Yisrael Eru. But today we do it with love and with unity. You look at a Jew and you say, you also they want to kill. You're also a chelik elikami mamish that they want to destroy. Friends, I want to conclude with this story. It was during the days before the 6-Day War, May and June 1967. The ambassador of the U.S. in the UN was a Jew by the name of Arthur Goldberg. Some of you from the 60s may remember the name. He had a Jewish diplomat working for him. His name was Joe Ben Eliezer. He gets a call one night from a first cousin. She has a son, Avram. He's learning in Kfar Chabad. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe told all his Hasidim and whoever would listen, nobody should leave Israel in May 67. It's the safest place and there are going to be great miracles. The Israeli media publicized it at the time. It was a unique phenomenon. Everyone who had a passport left. They thought, who knows, a second Holocaust, 7 armies attacking, promising a second Holocaust. We're going to throw them into the sea. He said, nobody should leave. Nobody has to leave. There's going to be unbelievableness. She says, our son Avraham is refusing to leave because the Rebbe said no. Joe, you work for Arthur. You're in the UN. You're part of the intelligence. Tell me, is it dangerous? So I didn't want to scare her. I said I would bring him home. So she says, I'm nudging him, but he says, the Rebbe has to give him permission. Do me a favor, you're connected. The UN, you can get into the Rebbe. Ask him, he's a Ben Yochid. He's a Ben Yochid. We're survivors. Let the Rebbe give this boy from Kfar Chabad permission to go home to New York. He says, I'll do it. He makes an appointment because of his connections. He didn't say why he's coming. He said he works for Arthur Goldberg, United Nations. So he went into the Rebbe. And he tells the Rebbe the situation. So the Rebbe said, I told everybody to stay because the Eretz Yisrael is a safe place. He said, I know. But I'm connected to the Modi'in. We have intelligence. We have intelligence. And American intelligence is aware of the fact that there may be more deaths than any Jew wants to think about. Even if Israel comes out, it will not be without scores and scores of casualties. He's a Ben Yochid. Send him home. So the Rebbe looks at him and he says, you have your intelligence. We have ours. He says, what's your intelligence? He says, Hine lo yonum v'lo yishon shomer Yisrael. He says, I understand, but he's a Ben Yochid. And the Rebbe looked and he said, Ich hab tausender b'nei Yechidim in Eretz Yisrael. Ich hab tausender. Jeder Yid is a Ben Yochid beim Ebersten. Every Jew is a Ben Yochid. You think my statement was coming from Hefker? It was coming from carelessness. Every Jew is a Ben Yochid. And I'm telling you, he doesn't have a reason to leave. And said, okay. And he left. He called his cousin. Avram stayed. When the war was over, the Rebbe asked him before he left, come back after the war was over. He came back. He looked at him and he said, Nu, what do you say about our intelligence? In 6 days, victory was achieved. Israel was quadrupled. Casualties there were, more than 800. Nothing close to what happened the first day of Simchas Torah. Kristallnacht, 400 Jews were killed. Kristallnacht, that's still entrenched in the Jewish psyche. Here, almost 1,500 Jews and the captives, etc., etc. But those words ought to empower us. Hine layonim v'leishon, we don't understand. Nobody understands. But let's know one thing, and that is, there's no question. There's no question that there's a story much larger than us happening. And these are unprecedented times. And like always, we will emerge victorious. But let's not forfeit this moment in history to be able to unite the fist with the shovel, with the Shema Meforish, to be able to go out from here. From Amar Reb Nahi Roi, Maniach ani kol umnes shebe'olam ve'eni melamed es b'ni el Torah, because it gives him kayach b'yaldusai v'tikva b'yimei ziknusai ayinuvim b'seva, to be able to eliminate all the arba of his nizikin in human form, the shoyer and the bird and the mava and the hever, to be able to rise to the occasion and see v'sachazene inenu b'shuv chalitziyah b'rachamim b'mheira b'yameinu. Amen. Thank you.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.